Co-op.
Hello, Couch Co-opers, Couch Potatoes, and Couch Co-opers. This is the Couch Co-op Show, the greatest video game and beer podcast in the world.
Beer.
I'm Ian. I got Dave, Jarrod, and Nick on the show tonight. We're a man down. Aaron's been moving, so he couldn't make it tonight.
Yeah, hopefully he's all done and getting back on. Getting settled.
Right.
Yeah, moving sucks.
Yep.
I like moving other people. It's kind of fun.
Depends
I'll
on
call you
the
when I move.
level of preparedness.
I just stand around and do nothing. It's always good.
Yeah.
Please do me a favor and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Couch Co-op Shows. All one word.
No hyphen.
Now let's get to the show. I am sorry. We you know what? I had the best of intentions of going weekly since our last podcast. Unfortunately, last week I got COVID, and so I was sick, and we couldn't do it. So it kind of faltered my plans to get this show back going. But here we are again. So moving forward, we will continue my best to get. Yeah. So we love our listeners. We're trying to get back on it. As shown by you guys, like our last episode was incredibly popular.
Nice.
So
Thank you.
I just it's nice to be doing. It's like we should always have been doing this instead of the other thing because we have a huge following fan base, and it's just nice to reward them and talk to them and. We're sorry we diverged for a little bit, but we've come back, and we're going to focus solely on you guys. We love you. Thank you for supporting us for all these fucking years.
It's been a couple minutes.
It's been a couple minutes. It's been a long-ass time. We're some old white men. We used to be younger white men. Now we're really old. And then maybe we'll be decrepit white men someday.
But being white men, we're going to tell you what's up.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it. Dave, before we start talking about video games, what beer are we drinking this week?
I was thirsty tonight, so I got the 19-ounce version, but
Oh man,
it's the Bone Yard RPM. Just the classic Northwest style like IPA. Very popular around these parts. Used to be only available on draft. I remember getting many growlers filled with this stuff, and now it's available in cans and has been for a while.
yes.
Bone Yard out of Bend, Oregon. One of our collectively one of our favorite breweries, right, guys?
Yep.
I think.
Hop
Yeah, a
Venom
lot of
is
good beer.
its
Yes.
big brother, 9%, and tastes delicious.
All right, well let's pop it.
Okay, I'm going.
I have two more of these. So.
Lovely hop smell.
So this one is like, would we say this is a firm competitor against like Lagunitas IPA? This
is right in that ballpark, yeah. It's playing with those other children.
Whereas
6.5%.
Lagunitas is still owned by someone else. Bone Yard is still solo. They still
Actually,
are they not? Uh-oh.
I was, I think the Shoots actually just bought him out not too long ago.
What? You're talking? This is news to me.
Oh
Interesting.
yeah, last March, March 4th, 2021, Deschutes Brewery acquires Ben's Boneyard Beer.
Oh my god.
Huh.
Oh, I hate this
Yeah,
beer.
that one is-
Oh, it's disgusting.
Yeah, this beer's the worst. Oh yeah.
I knew something was off. It doesn't taste like it
Yeah.
used to. Serious? Interesting.
Yeah,
Tastes
I
like
only
they
heard
got
it-
their
I mean-
aluminum from the same plant. Gross.
that news passed me by until somebody actually told me about it. Actually, it was a Columbia employee who was saying like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get Boneyard Beer," and
Interesting.
I just
Is
asked
there-
why. and
was
it's
there
like,
any
"Oh, Deschutes
reason-
bought 'em."
Is any news or reason why Deschutes is looking to buy beer companies now?
I don't know. I was just more floored by the fact that that happened and I missed it. Like it was a good. I mean, we're talking a good year and a half ago. This transaction happened,
Yeah,
Interesting.
and I didn't hear about it.
I
but
guess
they're
I guess it
still
protects them from other. Maybe they're
well,
trying.
they're still part of the Independent Brewers Association, so it's like just backing. By the
Yeah, I
sounds of
mean
it,
it's
just financial support.
Yeah, maybe it's one bend company buying another.
Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
what I'm
I mean, as
saying. It's
opposed
like,
to
but Deschutes is like big in the sense that like they're gonna
Mhm.
ward off any
Mhm.
other evildoers.
hopefully it's
like
just a big
AB
old high
InBev,
five. Yeah,
AB InBev sweeping in and buying 10 barrel.
Right. So they're
Mhm.
gonna protect Boneyard and keep them independent, but like,
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the owners just wanted to cash out on some of the hard work.
yeah. This
It's
stuff's
It's
way
one
way
thing to
easy to
build a
drink.
company that's worth some money, but it's another thing to
Or
actually
I can't
convert some of that.
imagine though, Dave. Honestly, I can't imagine Deschutes offered them enough money. They weren't offering that InBev money. I gotta be honest. Like, if you're like really, I mean, they probably
True.
they probably paid enough that they can keep going and like comfortably keep going. But I doubt that like it's like one of those like, oh, we're done here, like you
Mhm.
just hand it off, like 10 barrel type of deals. Just like, oh, here you go, InBev, later,
Yeah.
just walk away money. Anyway, that's interesting. Oh, let's talk about. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the beer really quickly. Let's, Jarrod, kind of give your initial thoughts. What you think of the beer?
Very easy to drink. It's good. It has good balance to it. It's easy on the tongue. It's not leaving any nasties in the back of the mouth, anything like that. It's just a real easy chugging beer almost.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
nice and hoppy.
6.5%.
Nick, what do you think?
I've always had bad luck with this beer. Like
Oh, really?
when I had it on draft, yeah, I never actually really cared for it. I mean, this is probably the best version I've had. Um, I mean, not that it was like terrible or anything. It was just maybe it's just one of those situations where the places I went, the draft lines just weren't that well maintained because it just there were some
Yeah, I know.
odd aftertastes. I mean, I never actually had. This is the first time I've ever actually had it out of a can. Because for one, I was always after the hop venom.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah, I think that was.
that's more my jam.
I think that's most of us.
Yep.
But um, yeah, I just think those few experiences where I did have it on draft and just didn't have a great experience. I just kind of turned my head and either waited for hop venom to become available or just passed and went on to something else. But I mean, it's not bad. I mean,
Okay.
I kind of like this so far.
Cool. Dave?
I just like it. It's just hoppy enough. It's refreshing enough. I could just drink a lot of this all night. Really.
Right. I
I
agree.
mean,
Oh, go ahead.
it's kind of the standard beer. To be quite honest, though, the only problem with this beer is that hop venom is like it's almost hop venom's like another level of this, and I feel like that's a slightly better beer.
I
But
would agree with that. I mean, I like Hot Venom more. It's interesting though. Like I feel like I like my IPAs a bit sweeter, and I feel like this is a sweeter IPA than like it's not crazy hoppy like some of the standard IPAs are just crazy hoppy. This is like a better balance of the hops and the malt. And then I feel like Hot Venom is like crazy more alcohol, malty. It's just a sweeter
yeah,
goodness beer. And I like that out of it more, and uh, like because it's so much more alcohol, it kind of cuts the hops. So this one's like a bit more traditional, I think, in the IPA taste field. But as far as like when you compare it to like kind of your standards, it's a pretty solid IPA. I do enjoy it. I
I
will
mean,
drink it.
the comparison with Lagunitas IPA is actually pretty spot on.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah, for
very
yeah,
sure.
similar to it.
they're right in the same ballpark, kind of. trying to do the same thing.
And I think I'll just buy this knowing that it's just still a craft brewery, whereas Lagunitas has been bought out by a big boy.
If you do buy it, I think
buy the bottle of beer that you're drinking earlier, by the way.
Yeah, but Heineken is... But you know what? Heineken is owned by Heineken, so it's like that, dick.
Yeah.
You are correct, but at the same time, it's like I'm not.
And not to mention, as we just mentioned, Bone Yard is now owned by your favorite Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a. But you know what? I think that just protects them. All right. Well, while we're still drinking this beer and we like suck it down a little bit, Jarrod has played and beat yet another game released this year. Like he's the one guy who's like beaten games that were released in this year. Jarrod, can you tell us a little bit about your foxy friend Tunic?
Yeah, Tunic was
what game is it like?
It's like a Legend of Zelda game with like Souls combat, like difficult combat.
So it's hard.
Which I didn't really want. So it has accessibility options where I just turned off death.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Totally recommend playing it that way because there's no way I would have stuck with the game if I had to deal with the battle system because it's very challenging and I couldn't imagine beating those freaking bullet sponge bosses. I mean, it's not bullets, you have your sword and whatever, but they took so long to beat even without having to worry about death. It's just crazy. Maybe I was doing something completely wrong, but I upgraded my character and all that stuff. You can collect certain items and upgrade your stats, but you can't just like outright buy upgrades or anything like that or decide, I just want to buy strength or defense. It's items that you get throughout the map and treasure chests. And so that made it a little tougher to really customize your battle experience. So I just dug through the options. Like, can I turn this to easy mode? It's like, you can make it really easy. But even then, it's very old school in the way it's interesting because it has like a integrated instruction manual that you have to find the pages to, and it kind of gives you hints about where items are, but your character doesn't know the language, and he throughout the game he scribbles little notes and stuff like that, and some other things get translated as you go through the game a little more. So I found that really interesting. Is the manual, of course, it's incomplete most of the game because you're collecting pages throughout it, but it's still kind of fun to look through the instruction manual in the game. It's like, that's what we used to do back in the day. So I mean, it's retro inspired. It was made by a dude. I don't remember the dude's name, but that's not important.
Are you playing it from Game Pass? I believe it's on Game Pass right now. Is that
Xbox Game Pass. So yeah, if you're just trying to blitz through a bunch of stuff on Game Pass and that game's put you off because of the battle challenge, just turn off the challenge. Just do it.
Just turn
Have
it
fun.
off.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, but I wasn't having fun when I just had to fight the enemies because I'm just terrible at the battle system or.
So it's
whatever.
not as good as like a Legend of Zelda, but it says Legend of Zelda like.
Yeah. I'd probably give it like a 7.5.
Oh, okay.
Out of 10. Yeah. So it's good.
Some people were pretty high.
Very good.
Some people were really high on the game, so I was just curious.
It has a great style. It has a lot of cool stuff going on for it.
How about the music? You're a big music guy.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. It's not off-putting.
Didn't stand out though.
No, nothing really, stuck with me. I'm not humming anything from the score or anything like that. I generally do that if I find a catchy tune or whatever. But beyond Tunic, I've also beat other games.
Yeah, but
that's just run through the list.
What we don't not unless they're brand new.
Well, Toem.
Because then everyone else has to talk.
This year, or was that last year?
We've all played games. I mean, Dave is still suffering through Horizon, and
didn't Toem come out this year, or was that late last year?
Oh, did it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm making my way through Horizon. Yeah. Still hacking away.
And Chicory,
I'm trying to keep this pointed. I'm trying to keep this pointed at hey, Jarrod played a new game this year, brand new. Because Tunic was kind of a
cool.
talk of for a moment, like a hot moment.
A very short moment. Yeah, it was
And Dave,
a couple weeks people talked about it.
Dave, you'll get your time to talk about Horizon. When you beat it, then I'll have you and Jarrod just go back and forth about how much you hate the game and how much he loved it. We'll have the Jarrod versus Dave Horizon talk.
Next time, actually, as well, I just got Alex the Kid in Miracle World DX for the PlayStation 5 from the library. I didn't buy it.
I think I can get that on Game Pass right now.
But I remember playing that game. Like, I had a Sega Master System back in the day, and I remember playing that game a lot. So
Reloaded.
I'm kind of interested to play it.
I did have like a small topic. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, he's talking. I had a small topic. Like, I want to because obviously Jared's not going to be. Oh, Jared's guzzling beer. I'm not even done with it yet. But like a small topic that like the water cooler, but like we're around the beer cooler, and like last week or a couple weeks ago we talked about something, and like we were talking about renting games. And it's like, I wanted to bring it up to you guys really quickly. Like, why do you think renting games is not a thing right now? Because, like, you can go to Amazon right now and you can rent a movie for, like, $2.99. Why do PSN and Xbox and Nintendo not allow the ability to just, like, rent a game for 2 days or like, 24 hours? Why is that not something that happens? Why do you think that is something that doesn't happen right now? Because, like, I'm going to rent this game for 24 hours.
Also, though, on a side note to that as well is, I don't know if you noticed, but Redbox used to rent games, and they don't do that anymore. And they obviously
that's a physical copy. I'm talking like digitally.
No, I mean,
yeah.
But by the same token, it's like, it's.
But why not digital rental games right now? I mean, you can digitally rent movies.
That would be great.
We're kind of like share. I mean, we're going back to the '90s, and even. I want to say, like, even a game that I got on the PS3 where you got to, like, preview the game. I mean, was that kind of not their version of it? Like, for example, Doom had the shareware version where you got to play the first level. You got to pass it around.
There are trials. There are demos and there are trials. But I'm saying, like, in a world, digitally.
Version of it, though?
But, like, no. Like, you can go to Amazon right now. And you could rent an HD version of, like, say, Top Gun Maverick for like
I understand
$4.99 or whatever.
But it's
like, why is that not something that PlayStation does? Like, for the weekend, I just want to rent this new game.
I mean, it's the same mechanics. If I want Top Gun Maverick and I buy it on Blu-ray, it's going to cost me $20, or I can rent it for $5. Kind of the same with the video game. Maybe I just want to play the 8-hour campaign and pay $20 and not buy the disc for $60.
Right. Yeah, why is that something not happening right now? Especially with something like Game Pass, where really, if the value of video games aren't that big a deal, ultimately, why is not PlayStation saying, hey, rent a game for the weekend? Like, be like old school. Buy a pizza and rent a video game, and just like why is that something that's not happening?
I wonder if some of it
do it.
Some of it might be just from the broadband speeds. I know you've got really good broadband, Ian, but
maybe
even for like myself, I'm talking like an hour and a half sometimes to download some of these larger updates.
Okay, so maybe you have to
maybe that's part of it.
Maybe you have to plan ahead. Maybe you have to rent it Friday night. But as soon as it's downloaded, that's when your time starts.
Well, it's the same with
once it's installed. Like the download time doesn't count as your rental time.
It's the same with a disc version. You put the disc version in, it takes like an hour to update or whatever.
But I could see that.
In the movie world, the rental period doesn't start until you hit the play button.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. Exactly, Jarrod. You're 100% right. And then you can watch it as many times as you want
in the 24-hour period.
Why is that not something? Why is that not something the video games do?
It's probably something to do with that, though, because, you can be streaming a video. You only need the first 10 megabytes, and then as long as your connection's good enough, you can keep streaming it. Whereas a video game, you kind of need at least half of it downloaded before it's playable, kind of.
But don't you guys, as a collective, we were from that time period where rental games were a thing. don't some of your fondest memories of video games come from renting games?
Devil May Cry. I remember renting that and beating it in a weekend. That was fun.
Even in
Well,
my
shoot, I
hometown,
remember
there was
NES games.
one
Yep.
kid in town that he had like a wealthy family, and he just started renting his games out down at the pizza joint. So I had this huge selection of games to pick from at the little counter there every time I went there, and I was always staring at what was new there. There's a lot of stuff I never would have played without somebody like that renting their games out.
Well, I think that's the other thing about game rentals is it's like $60 is a lot for a game you're not sure about, whereas a couple of
Or
dollars
$70.
for a rental, it's like, okay, well, I'm not sure about this game, but I'll rent it.
And maybe
It's fun,
buy it
fun
afterwards
for a
So, yeah.
weekend or a day or whatever.
I guess as
Or
kids,
even-
as kids, it was one thing where like you were. I guess as us as adults, like if we're thinking about it, like we're thinking like I'm gonna buy that new game, I'm gonna try and min max it and beat it before the time is up.
Well, isn't Sony trying something where with a higher premium plus edition, there's like games are supposed to have a certain period of a demo period, like an hour and a half or some garbage like that. Is that their method of rental? Like, hey, if you like it, you're gonna buy it.
With the PS Plus premium thing, there are trials things.
Yeah.
Sony's been trying to push the trials thing forever.
Mhm.
They had trials back in the day. You could download, but I'm saying like you could rent the
Yeah.
game and
Yeah.
earn the trophies. Like it's not like
Yeah.
trials. You can't earn the trophies. You can
Yeah,
play as much
actually-
as the game, but you can't earn the trophies. I'm saying
Thinking
like you could earn the trophies and then like
Basically just have
Thinking
full
about it,
access
though,
to the game
yeah.
as if you bought it.
right.
You don't need to download the whole game because game streaming has come along well enough that you could rent it on the streaming service and basically be playing it in the cloud.
And
True,
they could
but, like-
incentivize the purchase. If you rent the game, if you decide to buy it, you don't have to pay that $5
Yeah, you get-
or $6.
You get
Oh,
your
sure.
rental
to rent
fee
it,
off,
Sure, sure, sure.
whatever.
So
Yeah,
there's
these
like,
are
hey,
these are all
you
options,
should
but at
just
the
try it
same
out.
time,
Yeah, they
it's
could.
like, but at the same time, it's like, hey, you rent the game for that week. It's like $3.99. You got halfway through it. You got half the trophies, and you're like, oh, I want to fucking beat it. You can rent it again,
yeah,
or you
totally.
can buy it. It's like
Suppose it
doesn't.
works really well for some games, but not for others. I mean, like if it's a
Yeah, renting
multiplayer
may
game,
expose how bad of a game it is.
Yeah,
and
true.
then-
Yeah,
but
and
also
there's a
some
lot of
games
games
are very
that
sticky, and then other games are just a story that you play through.
But like you're thinking like monetarily wise, I mean, then you look at Game Pass, and they just put everything on this Game Pass for $14.99 or what $14.99 a month. So like the game isn't really worth ultimately to the company that much.
Yeah.
They
if you
really
could do it
just,
a la carte,
they
$5
they really just want you to use their service.
so
So
here's a
why doesn't
thought.
Sony just be like, fuck it, hey, come hang out with us. You can rent games now. We're like Blockbuster
Yeah.
again, baby. Let's like
So do
Friday
you
night
think-
pizza.
Do you think this is just Sony locking down digital rights, or is it because no outside third-party companies have tried
I don't know.
to
I have no
acquire
idea.
a license to these games
I don't know.
digitally to rent
I have
out?
no idea. But like, think about the marketing ideas outside. They could partner with Domino's, and they could be like, "Hey, rent a game with us. Rent like 2 games with us. Get a free pizza." There's all these other marketing capabilities outside of the box that they could be thinking about. It's like, hey, let's bring back game weekends. Hey, hey, or like Domino's. You buy a large pizza and you get a free download, a free rental
Yeah,
with PlayStation. It's just like there's some shit that like.
you got a new business venture, Ian. You
yeah,
start
let's
throwing
just-
those
let's-
emails out.
No,
Let's
but
go.
I'm just talking about let's bring back video game weekends. Like it's like
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Like you remember like back when we
Oh,
were
yeah.
kids, like you go get like Papa Aldo's pizza and you go rent like 2 Nintendo games and it's like that used to be your weekend. That would be your weekend.
The other difference
Yeah.
is you'd rent the video game and it wouldn't be out off stock or someone else hasn't rented it before you have.
Well, that's something you totally wouldn't have to worry about
Yeah,
from Sony.
you know.
You would not, like you go like looking for like Super Mario Brothers 3, but all those
Yeah.
copies are rented. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
I
and
gotta
so you
rent.
end up with some like
yeah, right.
knockoff.
Or sometimes you run to a game that's like, this is the best game I ever
Yeah.
played. You know, some kind of shit. All right. I just wanted to talk about that because I think it's like weird that no one does it right now. But anyway.
Or even letting you loan out your digital copy. You know, you're not playing it; it's just sitting there, and collecting digital dust.
Dude, I wish I could gift my digital copies to you guys. Like when I'm not playing them, I wish you guys could play. Certain games I have that you know.
Because I think you can do that on Steam, right?
Yeah, you can totally do it on Steam.
Yeah.
Honestly,
so
that's
it's
part of the
a
reason I'm still
capability.
on disc is because I like Jarrod and I have swapped many games, and
Yeah.
we all have actually. I mean,
Back in the
Over
day,
time,
for sure,
yeah.
100%. But it's like it just seems like, hey, I don't want to. I feel like I should be able to do that. I should be able to have that control over my digital collection as well. Anyway, all right, let's wrap up with Bone Yard, RPM, the IPA. What is final thoughts on this beer? Is it a good IPA, Jarrod?
Yes, it is a very good IPA. As I stated earlier, it's just really easy to throw back. And, I'm done with mine, and it just doesn't stick to the back of my mouth.
Did you buy a full
It's
six
just
pack,
an
or
easy,
did you
clean.
buy a?
Yes, I did.
So is this
bought
the
a full
first one,
six-pack.
or have you downed them all?
I think I have one left.
There you go.
Yeah. I've been enjoying it from day one. I've had it before.
Oh yeah,
of
course.
Like if it's a beer I've never had, I like to wait until the show. But since it's a beer I've had and I know I like, I just went through and just made sure to set one in the door so I wouldn't pick it up.
Here's a funny talk. My first Bone Yard experience was with Jason Alexander, or
Josh
From Seinfeld?
Josh Alexander, and we went out eastern Vancouver to Grapes and Growler because they had a bunch of Bone Yard on tap there, and this is like years ago. And we went and go play golf, and then we went, and then he says like, the beer here is fine, but just make sure you order, the Bone Yard stuff. So we had RPM, I had, anyway. I just remember getting totally fucked up and then getting into fights with other people because Josh and we feed off each other's energy. So Bone Yard is always going to be this kind of like angsty, like get in a fight beer for me. But Nick, what do you think? What is Deschutes? They make a poor choice?
No, I think Deschutes made a great choice in buying their neighbors. Keep it bend.
How do you
And I
feel
love
about the beer,
Bend.
though? As in comparison to like
I mean-
something like Lagunitas or
No, just in comparison to what I've had. But I mean, I just noticed some floaties in mine. I mean, so it's it's not unfiltered. So it's, or I mean, it is, or it's not completely filtered. Not that it affects anything. I don't know. I'm obsessing on it, but no, it's good. I like it. I mean, it's definitely having it in this package is definitely a bit of a. I'm at a loss of the word, but I mean it's a lot better than what I've had in the past. In terms
having the hop.
this.
Like you and I have both kind of had this kind of like tired of hoppy
Just-
beers. Does that
Yeah.
affect your understanding
not so much
of the
because
beer?
I'm not. I mean, despite my IPA fatigue that I've been kind of going through lately, this beer is not necessarily affected by it. I mean, I'm quite enjoying this actually.
Cool. Dave, where are you on the beer?
I think this is a very pleasant IPA that I could drink a lot of. The only thing I don't like about Bone Yard is I'm not particularly a big fan of the can art.
Oh, really?
The kind of like 50s, 60s kind of gaseous stoner art. This one's actually pretty good, but and the hot venom's not bad, but then they have a couple of others, and I just don't really dig it. But other than that, I really like it.
In retrospect to the can art, Dave, it's funny. Like, I feel like this is like the opposite of like Lagunitas IPA,
Yes.
and I find it like it's like the dark villain opposite of that beer. It's funny, and
I actually really like the can art on this RPM, and I like it on the Hop Venom. But
Hop
some of the
Venoms
others
are just great. Yeah.
yeah, I like this one because it's black and white. Some of the other ones have got a couple of colors going on, and it just doesn't look as good. I don't think. But
You
anyway,
know what?
that's a
That's
minor
you know what? You
nitpick.
know what's interesting? I gotta say, like, because it's been, now that Nick has shed the light on the fact that Deschutes picked them up, it makes sense that they have more of a presence, and that they
It
have
does, doesn't it?
can
And
art.
cans.
Like the cans are like, it's
And
not
that they
like
do these big cans, like
it's like
Deschutes
they're
has
all
been
like
pushing.
properly canned, and it's not like stickers. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's totally Deschutes' doing.
Yeah, early in the pandemic, when everything closed down, they were still doing kegs, so they had to start canning pretty quickly. And I remember the cans were just like label stuck on the can and 6-pack across the top.
Like those.
So when
And
it
then,
comes to like traditional IPAs, I'm like, I'm kind of hit or miss, and RPM is actually a very solid one for me, even though I prefer generally the sweeter kind of high octane hot venom. Like that
Yeah.
one I will always pick up over RPM.
Oh, I would agree with you.
But like it's funny at that. I guess that's just where I'm at. Like I prefer doubles over singles.
But then I've had Notorious, which is the triple, and then I know Nick's had it as well, and I find
Yes.
that's almost a little too much. It's good. It's just
triples
like,
are hit or
bite your
miss
tongue.
because it's either like just like it's
yeah.
just like it's a hit or miss. But I really do like this beer. I would buy this beer. So let's just rate it, I guess.
Yep.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. Like I'm very like lately you guys know that I've been very like toxic with my IPAs, but I do find this to be a solid IPA. An IPA I would buy, I would drink, and so I'm gonna give it a thumbs up.
Yep.
Same here, yeah.
Waiting on the
I'm gonna
Nick.
go right here.
Nick's gonna like level us out.
Yeah.
That's probably fair. That's 3.5.
Yeah,
Oh,
good,
Nick.
No,
yeah.
I mean, if
No.
this was an option,
You're good.
this is
You're
where
good.
it'd
You're
be.
good.
But
No,
No.
I have a quick question, Nick. Though, what IPA would you rather drink than this?
Venom.
Yeah.
Other
See,
than
no, but
Venom,
but like you gotta like do singles. You can't you
I
can't
know.
level a
Single
double
IPA?
versus a single.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Like I would drink this over Lagunitas. I would pick this over Lagunitas. I would pick this over most singles. That's why I'm giving it a
Terminal
thumbs
Gravity
up.
IPA is what I
Terminal
pick over this.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
I'll
Alright.
have to
I
revisit
haven't
that
had
one.
Terminal
But, I
Gravity
mean-
in a long time.
3.5.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved Terminal Gravity's single IPA. The
only reason I ask is I'm not trying to make you adjust your thing. It's just like, oh, maybe there's a beer out there I need to try.
All right. Well, to get us back to video games, Dave, what video game are you pairing RPM with?
The can art just reminds me of Road Rash.
Okay.
There's nothing like being on the motorbike in Road Rash and then getting the metal bar. The best part is when the guy next to you tries to hit you with the metal bar, you can grab it off him, and then you can smack the other riders off the road. And that actually ties into one of my game mechanic things for the next
When is the
bit.
last time you played Road Rash?
Oh,
For what console?
it would be on the Sega Genesis.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it wasn't on
Never
the
have.
it wasn't on the Genesis, but it was on the Mega Drive. But it was on that Raspberry Pi thing I've got. So probably
Okay.
about 2 years ago.
I've never played it, but I
You've
remember
never played Road
reading.
Rash?
I remember reading about it in EGM all the time.
Made 3 of them.
How have
Yeah.
you never played that game? Oh, that's
I lived in
crazy.
Heppner, bro.
I've always loved racing games where it's not a straight racing game where you've either got weapons or there's some other method by which you can kind of.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
He-
game because it's mostly a racing game, and
Yeah.
then it's not really a combat game. It's like
No.
just stay behind me and die.
Yeah.
Like, I'm leading. Just
Yeah,
Go
if you get too
away.
focused on
Yeah.
that, you can't make the corners. But it's like it's a very old school game in the graphics and the making the bends and all the rest of it. It's like one of the early. It's very reminiscent of the early like F1 pole position type games. So
Awesome.
All right. Do you guys need beers or anything before we move on to the next segment?
I
I'm
need a
ready
beer.
for my E and beer here.
You're
But
good.
you guys,
I would like a beer.
All right, go get a beer. We will. No, I love. That's crazy, Nick. I did not. You know what? That's crazy. Like
What?
as funny as as close as we are all to beer drinking, I did not hear about the
Yeah.
Deschutes thing, man. That's gnarly. That's crazy.
No, it blew my mind too when I heard it. It's like, what? And sure enough, I mean, I probably heard about this like maybe 2 months ago.
I wonder if they're just gonna only buy. I mean, has Deschutes bought anyone else? Do you know or not?
Off the top of my head, I have no idea.
Oh, okay. I wonder if they're just trying to save Ben Breweries. This is be like, no, stay away from
Maybe.
us.
Yeah, like I said, maybe it's just a reaction from. I mean, it's a very delayed reaction. because
I
it's
would
been
love to.
8 years.
Or just like
since-
some article piece on that would be. I would just love to know their reasoning for that. That's it. Anyway. All right, we're all back. We're all drinking beers. We all got.
Maybe Jerry Fish is a motorcycle rider. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So tonight's topic. Oh my god, that's disgusting.
I thought I'd ruin your night. Ian.
Ugh,
With some
God,
pumpkin
that's
ale.
not what we're drinking on the show tonight.
thank
Be
God.
over.
Dude,
Pumpkin
I
ale.
drank that. So like, you know what's funny? On my like Milkman drinks a beer. So my latest episode's crazy popular. I drank the Taiwan. It's called Taiwan beer. Super popular. Pub beer's always good, Dave. Great choice.
Mm-hmm.
But like but on episode I did the Night Owl that Jarrod's drinking right now. No one has watched it. No, no one's like, no one cares. I always find it funny. Like episodes will have like 20 views, 5 views, or no views, and it's like the Night Owl is like, we don't care. I don't know if that's Night Owl or that's Elysian because Elysian is.
I'll probably watch it because I know your face is gonna make some funny looks.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You know it is.
So tonight we've moved. So Aaron's not here, but in honor of Aaron, and like just to move the podcast along, we've decided to not do top 5s. We've decided to do top 3s, and I think this is a good choice. Just makes it faster, and it gets our ultimate idea. Tonight, our top 3s. We're doing a top 3 of game mechanics. So, top 3 game mechanics you experienced in a game a long time ago, and then it's never been in a game since. Like, it's something like, wow, this is super fucking cool. This is awesome.
I missed the long time ago bit.
Well, it doesn't have to be a long time ago. It just has to be like
I didn't go super far back.
it just
I've
has to
got
be. It
far.
has to be. It has to
I
be in a
did.
game. It's like this was in a game. It could have been 2 years ago.
I did get a top 5, so
But then,
I've got extras if I need them.
it's like, how come this is not a mechanic we've never used again in a video game? This is super cool. Why was this never used again? You know, this is kind of this was my thought process. I'm sorry. You know, ask questions in the Discord if you're unsure. Like Nick did. Nick did a good job of like asking questions. I'm just saying like, hey man, I played this awesome game in like 2004. Had this really cool thing, and then no one ever ripped it up. No one ripped it off.
Yeah, I've got 1 and 2 from there, so even earlier actually if I need to. But
All right.
I'm still unsure about my list, but
Well, you know what? There are no wrong answers,
nope.
and we will let you know if you fucked up. No, just
pretty
kidding.
sure my list is full of wrong answers. But all right.
Okay, I'm sorry it was so hard for you guys. It was
No,
Like
it wasn't.
when I thought up the idea, I was like, "Oh God, I got 3 right now." It was like super easy for me. Like,
Oh,
so,
No,
I was like,
it's a great.
ugh. And then I thought about it a little, and it was like,
maybe for someone like me or Jarrod who plays a shit ton of video games, it's not so hard. But
No, it's a great topic. It was just for me. It was
well,
for one, just like comprehending it's and just being
here's the
uh,
other thing,
like
Nick.
overthinking it
I'm
too.
we have done so many top lists in our
Yeah,
our
we have.
existence as a podcast that like having to come up with something new. It's like I gotta like kind of like come up with like some crazy ideas. Anyway, Jarrod,
Okay.
you get to
Anyway,
be
I
the
liked
guinea
this
pig.
one.
Jarrod, you
All
get to go
right.
first. What is your number 3 game mechanic that you would like to see?
My number 3 is from an old game from 2009. You know, that I don't go too far back.
Not too bad.
But it's Shatter. It's like the Brick Breaker game, but
Oh right.
it had the push and the pull.
Oh yeah.
It was a Brick Breaker where you could push the ball with gravity, or you
And then
could
pull it back.
and modify the trajectory based on the way you push or pull it. You know, I love Brick Breaker games. Those have always been really fun for me, and that one I really enjoyed that aspect. And I've only seen it in that title, which I've recently dug through the Netflix games, and they actually have a remastered version for mobile now that just came out.
Of Shatter?
So, yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
it's not Shattered, it's Shatter.
Oh, Shatter. Right.
Yeah.
Because I think like what the last Brick Breaker game, the Striker Sisters or whatever, that was like the last one you kind of reviewed on the show. I think.
Yeah, Strikey Sister,
Girls
something like
or
that.
something. Yeah. But that didn't have like a push or pull.
No, it didn't have push or pull, but it had its own neat little thing going on. I really liked that game.
And
But
see,
Shatter's the one I always come back to.
That seems like a
But
good idea.
it's actually funny because I remember sending a direct message to the company that made Shatter, like, "Hey, can we ever look forward to like a remaster for modern systems or anything like that?" And like, we have no comment at this time. And then a few months later, there's a trailer for the Netflix version of the remaster.
Okay,
I'm like,
I have 2 comments on this. First of all, Youssef, who does DJing on Sundays and plays game music, he has a vinyl of the original soundtrack for Shatter, which is super
great
cool.
soundtrack.
That game has a great soundtrack. Second, that mechanic is awesome and could be better. Like, could you imagine like pulling it, and as you pull it, it charges it?
Yeah.
And then makes it even more powerful, so like it hits more. Like that's a game mechanic that you could like iterate off of and be.
It should have a sequel.
Yeah,
I would buy the sequel.
or any game. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
Super
Shatter.
cool idea.
Gravity
Shatter 3.
push and gravity
Awesome.
pull.
Nick, let's see how well you did on this assignment. What is your number 3?
Well, I'm glad you brought up Yusef because again, I'm gonna call back to he streamed No Mercy a few weeks ago.
Yes, wrestling mechanics.
Well, it's not wrestling mechanics. It's we're going back to No Mercy, and their SmackDown Mall. And this is going to be very weak because I was 50-50 on this just because it's so reminiscent of microtransactions today, but just back in the day they had I mean, this is before you could do like microtransactions. It's all stuff in game, but you could almost choose like the stuff that you unlock with the SmackDown Mall because you earn money playing certain, I guess, storyline missions. So you can choose your unlockables, whether it be like hidden characters or move sets or, just kind of various things. I mean, there's a finite amount of stuff that you can unlock, of course, but it was kind of unique. There weren't any other. I would just say wrestling games, but I mean, you probably even expanded onto like sports games too. That didn't really have kind of that thing where when you I mean, it's basically just to I guess promote replayability
Right.
to do the
So-
fully unlocking. But I mean, this like predates like trophies and stuff like that. But I mean, it's
So was it more of like you actually could make progression versus all the characters now just to all have their movesets?
I mean, well, like all the well, because there was also a very extensive like
This is like
create
a 64
wrestler.
game, right?
Yeah, N64 came out fall of 2000. But there's a very extensive create a wrestler um, thing within the game, and of course, I created my own self in there, and goddamn was I a badass.
Of course.
Of course. But
Hey
it was
Nick,
just it was
you're
very
still a
unique
badass.
moves.
But
Yeah, I
do
was
you
gonna
remember what you
say.
named him? I want to know
Oh,
if
it's
you
a
remember
shadow
what you
of
named
real
him.
life.
What?
I want to
Of
know
course
if you
I-
remember what you named him.
Of course, I remember what I named him.
Yeah?
Biggest dickers.
Hey Nick, stupid question. Have you
No.
played that
Okay.
2K Battleground wrestling game?
No, I have not.
Oh, really? I figured you would have. Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're talking a game that's 22 years old.
I'm talking about
And
a
I
more
was kinda
current
like-
game.
No, I understand, but I guess my point was just.
I know. I just know you like wrestling
haven't
games. I
really
was just
played-
curious.
Well, I liked wrestling games back in the day. I haven't really played them so much.
Alright. All right.
Maybe in the past 12, 14 years, 16-ish.
We're gonna go to Dave now. Dave, what is your number 3 mechanic?
You want me to go modern or
You do
old?
what you think you need to do.
You do Dave. You do
You
Dave.
do Dave. You do Dave.
I had a couple, and I think I'll go with this one for number 3 because I couldn't really do them, but I really, really liked Ghost of Tsushima and the wind and the way the grass blew in directions to like get
Great
you to
mechanic.
places without like bringing up maps and shit like that. You know, you go into your map, you
Right.
select what your objective is, and then whenever you're lost, you just
Why has no one
are
ripped that
free,
off?
and it goes like
100%. Why has no one
And it
ripped
was-
that off?
it
Why
really,
has no one ripped that off?
really made a lovely change from the little circle in the top right hand corner
Uh-huh.
with you in the middle, and you know, or the bar, and depending on which direction you're facing. Because I'm playing Horizon right now, but you know, the little turn in the direction till you see the gold arrow. It was just so less intrusive and just
But cool, and makes the game look cool, and it's like
it was like, wow, this makes sense. Not only does it make sense, it doesn't interfere with the gameplay. Like, and I'm not looking at
Yeah.
maps. So if
It's
I,
clean.
how old
Yeah.
is that game now? Like 3-4 years old now at this
Yeah.
point?
maybe. But anyway, I thought that was like
No, it's
a
great. That's a
fantastic
great
game
yes.
mechanic that I've not seen in anything else, and I still haven't seen it in any
Yeah, no,
games I've played
100%.
recently. But yeah,
It's like it's something like that needs to be ripped off, and I don't think a company would take the time to do it. Like,
Yeah,
you
and
like.
it
I would
should.
love to see. I would love to see it in an Assassin's Creed, but it would never. They would never do it because it's just. I think that is. I think it's so much extra work to do that.
yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6. You suddenly press the button and like the trash flows across the street and which direction you want to go.
Not
Yeah,
None of
that'd
this
be great.
little like reticle that's you know. Anyway, but I thought that was a great
Great
game mechanic,
choice.
hence
Yeah,
why
yeah.
it's on my list.
Solid.
All right. My number 3 is from a little old game from 2000 something called Vanquish. And the intense slide combat. Like, sure, you have in first person shooters, third person shooters, a slide mechanic, just kind of slide. But this game, you just slide. Like, you just combat slide. And
Wasn't
just,
there a rocket that blasted
yeah, you just
across the ground or
blast
something
around
like
and you
that?
just slide. And then it will slow down time. You can shoot things. It's just, it's
That
one
game's
of the
cool.
the game needs a sequel, but it's not getting it. So
It was
like,
remastered for PS4.
yeah, well, I played it again because
Mm-hmm.
of that, and this is why it's fresh in my memory. So from Platinum Games, because Platinum Games is one of the greatest. But then just the idea of like sliding and like in games that are kind of these grindhouse action games, why can't you just slide forever? I love the idea that this mechanic is just like, and you just slide around the boss and you just like slow-mo taking him out, but the slide never ends. It just keeps going. It's just like, it's wonderful.
I don't know if
love
you've ever
it.
seen
I
it.
love
There's a advert. I can't remember what it's for, but it's a soccer player and he scores and then he
You just
jumps
slide.
down on his knees to slide, and then he just slides around the whole stadium.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
That's basically what this is. And I love that. You know what? I love the game so much. I've played through this game twice, and it's a solid game. It's never going to get a sequel. So I wish there was a game that would kind of co-op. It doesn't have to be as long as that mechanic, but like there's something about just like that slide that's like super rewarding, and it slows down time. And anyway,
Horizon has a really good slide, man.
yeah, but is it forever?
It seems like it because it's slow
Oh,
mo.
All right, Jarrod, what's your number 2?
My number 2 goes all the way back to 1999.
We're taking it back to 1999.
Yeah, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
Oh, what is happening
I
in
don't
this
think
game?
I ever played that.
Because your character could switch between the material and spectral realms. And while it's not, other games have done similar things, but the cool part about that one that I remember is the environment slowly shifted. Instead of just like doing a quick snap or whatever like that, it actually like morphed the terrain into different things where you could traverse areas you couldn't get to in the material realm. You could only interact with objects in the material realm, and spectral things you could walk over like water. There's certain things that just didn't matter in the spectral realm. And it was really interesting how they did the puzzles in that type of gameplay, because you could switch it back and forth anytime. You didn't have to go to like some dumb portal to switch you real quick. You didn't have to have an item as just one of the talents you had in the game, and it was really awesome. I really remember like some of those terrains. They really had a cool animation effect as they switched between material and spectral. It's awesome.
So you're saying in the spectral realm, you could just basically. Let me explain the mechanic again. I'm sorry. So, like in the spectral realm, you could just hang out.
You could like walk
there?
over water and stuff like that. I mean, there were blocks and stuff like that.
So you could
like,
do
where
more
you
things in the
walk
spectral
everywhere.
view than you could in the normal view.
Well, I mean, they had it designed in a way where you couldn't just walk through the whole game spectral. There was puzzles based around needing to use both.
But is spectral view technically like what would become like investigative view? Like
not really, because it actually changed the terrain that you're trying to walk around.
So you wouldn't use it to
interesting that way.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like
you wouldn't necessarily use it to figure out a puzzle?
Yeah, you'd have to. I mean, it's been a long time. But I remember that it was really interesting. The main thing was like there's a lot of games that might have like a different view or something like that, but there was just nothing really interesting about it. But this game had like cool animation style. That's what really stuck to me.
Gotcha.
Is back in that day, PS1, you're like morphing the whole environment seamlessly, and it looked really cool when it did the transitions and the differences, so you could actually see like, oh, hey, this path goes in a different area. Gotcha. Or whatever. It's really, really cool.
Okay, cool. That's Legacy.
That's a game that needs a sequel.
Soul Reaver,
like a
Legacy
remake.
Kain.
It's Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver.
Okay.
The first game in that series was Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain.
So that's where you're playing as
Legacy
Kain,
of Kain,
not as.
In Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, you're Raziel. In Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, you're playing as Kain.
Okay, gotcha.
And there, it progressed, and you played as
complicated.
Kain a lot. Yeah.
So complicated.
Oh, I know the titles of all those games are so messed up and weird, but
cool. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm all about another one of those.
Nick, number 2.
So I just have to
with arms wide open.
Yes. I just want to put this disclaimer out there.
Oh, disclaimer.
Well,
Cool.
I'm not well versed in like a whole lot of RPGs, so
So right.
what
You
I'm
got to
about
get
to
well
mention-
versed. You got to start playing more video games, Nick.
I know I probably
No.
should. Especially
Personal
RPGs,
choice. Let's
but,
go.
So I'm gonna go with Zelda 2: Adventure of Link.
Okay.
Okay.
Love that game.
Right, and it has a lot of elements to it that it's almost like a quasi RPG in itself.
True.
But what's that?
I said true. Yeah.
Okay. But the only thing is, instead of random enemy encounters, you have these three, like it's usually like they're shadowy figures that just kind of like appear on screen, and they kind of dance around. And of course, if they interact with your with Link, then that's when you enter a fight. And I've played a few different Final Fantasy games.
Fallout. Fallout doesn't have it.
Right. Dragon Warrior. I'm referencing more.
So you're
NES
talking
games
about
at this point,
like
but-
shadowy figures that would attack you, but if you missed
Well,
them,
right.
you wouldn't encounter them. Like if you
would
dodge
not,
them,
you would not.
right?
Yeah, you don't get into a fight,
Right.
and I haven't seen anything like that since.
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's like, why is that not something that exists right now?
But
Like,
my favorite part about that
but that's
is-
something that used to happen all the time back in those old school days.
Maybe because it's annoying. I don't know. It's
But like
you wander around and
nowadays,
you
but
don't, like-
Dave, like if you think like Jarrod, like think something like Elden Ring. If you were going to a boss and you were to avoid the shadow creatures, and then you got through, then you wouldn't have to deal with them. I feel like that's
not
something
only that, it's like
it's a
you could-
mechanic that
I mean-
should still exist. I think.
you can also kind of game it too, because it also depends like the terrain that you're on. Because you could also be kind of in a foresty area, but you could also have like a deserty area too, like not too far away, where you might have a favorable. You would have more of a favorable condition if you like led the enemy and like encountered it in this one area versus like the other area.
Well, what I really liked about that title and what you're talking about there is it's like a top view kind of like RPG style. You're walking around the environments and then you get hit by the battles, and then all of a sudden it's a 2D like side-scrolling action game. And with fun moveset as you progress through the game, you have a lot of cool moves, down stab, up stab, that kind of stuff.
I feel like it's something that could be adapted
It's
for
very
today.
good.
It could be adapted for today, and I think it's something that, like, in current RPGs, is something that is like it's an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's just like a lot of the RPGs that I play, it's like you just wonder about, like even the original Fallouts, as Ian mentioned, because I do Fallout things. It's you just like even the original ones. It's like you try and travel to a place, and you go in the straight line, and then you may happen to have an encounter, and you don't know what's going to happen or not. At least with with Venture Link, it's like you at least have a chance to avoid it, or kind of game it a little bit, like I mentioned before, with like the terrain and like it. Like I want to say, it seems like if you like were, it all also depended on like where you were on the map. Like what enemy you would encounter, or enemies,
what
if
terrain.
you will. Yeah, and if you could like avoid facing him in this area and kind of move over into this area, it would determine like the difficulty level too as well. Like you may have something
easy
like,
or difficult.
Yeah, just like
depending on the
that.
terrain, it could be super stupid hard or a lot easier, just like one dude.
It is. I 100% know what he's talking about, and I 100% like why games have why has that been an abandoned mechanic?
I mean, there's games that have done, you can see the enemy, but they're not moving around. It's like, oh, you can
Well,
kind of
yeah,
walk around this enemy, but it's not quite the same.
I just feel like in a Souls-like game, that
Yeah.
is like an enemy that's like that is like a brilliant idea that something that they're missing. Anyway,
So if you could dodge, and if you hit one of the shadowy figures, you see what spawns in its place.
and you're fucked,
That'd be
or
interesting,
you
yeah.
get through the enemies
Yeah,
because you're always
or-
trying to run through,
Yeah.
and then All right, Dave, number 2.
Ooh, number 2. Well, I was gonna go with a little game from 1997 called
Yeah.
Carmageddon.
Okay. Yeah.
And I always loved that game because you could win the race by winning the race by time, by destroying all your opponents, or by killing all the humans on the track. And I just loved that there were 3 different ways to win. So you could kind of choose your own strategy.
I remember watching you play the PS4 remaster.
Oh god, that was terrible. But
That's
yeah,
a terrible game.
It was bad.
but yeah, I remember spending many hours like.
So Dave is basically saying he wants a race game with multiple ways to win.
Yeah.
First, damage or kills. I guess,
That's great. Yeah, you can play it how you want.
And
Gotcha.
Ian's going to tell me the game that's like modern that does that.
No, I don't.
No?
I don't
No,
have.
no, there
I
isn't one.
think
Oh, I thought you
I
were
think
being
Carmageddon
like,
is the
yeah.
game. I don't think it's ever
Yeah.
been. I can't think of a game.
Wow, I would have
yeah.
thought maybe I'd missed one Need for Speed or something where it's
No.
like,
no.
okay.
Need for Speed is straight up racing, Dave. That's like legit racing. That's like it's me and a brother figuring out.
anyway,
that
I
shit.
just always like the fact that sometimes it's like, okay, I'm going to race, and then other times it's like, no, I'm going to crash into everyone and take
I'm
them out.
gonna make a mess of this
And then
place.
third
yeah.
times it's like, I don't care if everyone's halfway around the track.
I will say
front of
this:
me.
there isn't enough race games where there are multiple. Like I even think just having 2 ways to win is like rare.
Yeah, just like knock out everyone else. And
I don't
then
even
you
think
win.
that's rare because that's I mean just like having a race game where there's other objectives to win, I think is
Oh, what was
brilliant.
Wreckfest? Wreckfest kind of tried that, but they made it
But
like
you're really ultimately you just have to win the race.
yeah. Wreckfest was like it was one or the other. Like when you go into the race, the aim of the race is to keep racing until you kill everyone.
You would really have
Or-
to destroy everybody because everyone's car
Yeah.
could really take a beating. You'd really
Or
have
Yeah.
like Burnout Paradise had different modes of racing, but it wasn't
Modes,
in
but
a
you'd
specific
still-
race.
you'd still
you
have
had
to
to do
ki-
that
yeah.
specific objective.
like killing humans or killing each other. Those weren't
Yeah,
Or
valid
options.
ways to read.
Mhm.
Wait,
No,
Anyway.
no. I think that having 3 ways to win the race, that's a cool objective, and like,
yeah,
I
like
have
basically
not-
choose your own adventure.
there's not been a game except Carmageddon remaster.
I wasn't sure if
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a game. That was why it was like
to
a
my,
little-
to my
I can't
knowledge,
think of
no,
one.
no. All right,
Yeah.
so my number 2 is again another Platinum game because Platinum. I could have done like a top 10 of Platinum games because they have
Yeah,
so many crazy mechanics.
they have
But
good stuff, yeah.
but one of my favorite mechanics, so for number 2, is from Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. The fucking chopping, killing, you understand that chopping's like sword slashing is that's sword slash. That's slash.
yeah, that's
a
in
mechanic.
most games. Yeah,
But in this game, you target. Let's say you target a watermelon. You can chop. You can chop it into like hundreds of pieces, and then that's what you would do for the enemies. You would target chop. So it targets, and then you chop within your window of time. So like in a boss battle, you have a window of time to chop.
so
If
you
you're-
activate
if you're-
it and then it's button mash, is it?
Oh, it's like
no,
Fruit Ninja Extreme.
you can literally change the angle of chops. So like, but like in just open world, if you go to a tree and you target and chop, you can chop a tree down, then chop a section, and then chop another section, and chop. You can chop all these different and then when you let go, it all just falls into millions of pieces. So like with inanimate open world objects, you could do that, but then the mechanic was then added into boss battles or regular battles. Like, so like if you needed to like just a regular enemy, you chop off his legs. So you like chop legs off, chop another, chop his head off, and it's just like this. And then when you let go of the button, the body just falls apart, and it's just like it makes you feel like a fucking crazy ass ninja. But like the game was never gonna be popular because was never a Hideo Kojima fully. I mean, it was a Hideo Kojima game supported, but it was a platinum game, so no one really gave a shit about it. But it's also this kind of off-kilter cult followed game, and when you play it, it's just like it's one of the funnest, stupidest mechanics you will ever play in a video game, dude. It is so fucking awesome. I could see
Hideo sitting back in his chair, like just laughing his ass off. I'm like, that sounds so fucking cool. Make it.
I mean, you just sit there and you cut an enemy into a million pieces, and then you let it go and it just falls apart. It's just like, wow. I need that. I need more of this. And like,
I played the demo. Is all.
It
was cool.
It's such a crazy mechanic, and I wish there was more of it. I wish they would refine it. It's a cool. Anyway, that's my number two.
Just imagine like that in VR, where you actually have control. It's just going chat 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 chat, and like slowly falls apart in front of your face, and you're just like, that's so cool.
All right, Jarrod, number one. What is your number one game mechanic that you would love to, you enjoy?
It's my most modern game on this list is Tetris Effect, which is now Tetris Effect Connected. They actually added once you complete levels, you can actually just sit there and chill in theater mode, and it'll play through the whole song with all the really cool stuff that happens in the level, and it will just keep playing all the levels in a row. And you can just like sit there and chill to all those really cool scenes that the game generated. And it's so awesome. The music in the game is so wonderful, so calming, relaxing, and all the stuff that happens around you is amazing. You can even do the theater mode in VR on PlayStation, and it's just so chill and relaxing. It's just like, you don't have to play. It will do everything automatic. You can even interact with it if you want, just to advance it a little more, make more, symbol sounds or whatever the button push does on that level. So, like, I would like to see that kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of games that have great music, and it'd be nice if they had some cool, like, theater just set up in, like, the options menu where you can listen to the song.
Have you played this game?
No, but so basically when you beat the level, you can basically watch the level back kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's at a pace where, you're not tick, 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 tapping and
yeah, you're not actually involved.
Stressed out, concentrating on Tetris. It's just, you're watching all the stuff in the background. There's no Tetraminos or anything on the screen. It shows like the line clears where it progresses the level a little bit, because the game just has like slow phase shift after you get like 10 lines. Boom, it'll progress the level.
Nick,
boom,
have you
it'll
played
progress
Tetris
again.
Effect? Nick, have you played Tetris Effect? Mm-hmm. Have you played
Tetris Effect?
No.
It is the greatest Tetris game ever.
Nobody,
absolutely,
only Jarrod has played this game.
Oh my god! Does anybody else here like Tetris?
Not
really.
I
love Tetris. I just never played that one.
Dude, yeah, Tetris Effect is the greatest Tetris ever made. It's so good, and the music in it is fantastic. And as I'm saying,
I know it's all
the theater mode. Yeah, especially if you're playing it in VR, Dave. You have to get. No, seriously, it's awesome. It's really good. You're focusing directly on your Tetris thing
after playing it too long on the Game Boy, so I don't need it 3D.
No. Well, so that's all the description of what I wanted to put as a mechanic. But the multiplayer mode is amazing as well. It's so good. The connected part, because after you all chime in together. So you, like,
That's two
3
mechanics,
people.
Jared. You're mentioning
I
two
know,
mechanics. Jared.
but that
Yep.
it's dude, the game's so
Is
good.
it like
timing
is it
stuff
like
there.
is it like the classic Game Boy mechanic where you like send over bars? Is it like that kind of competitive?
Well, you
gameplay?
have boss fights,
Oh,
and
boss
3. I think it's 3 or 4 people can join.
boss
and
fights.
When it does the connected mode, you all work on the same plane, and you
Interesting.
just freaking destroy the boss. And it feels so good when everything just hits and you see all the shit pile up on the boss. It's so awesome. I want to play that game with you guys so bad. You can actually do a split screen. It's
All
the
right,
fucking
Jared,
greatest Tetris
Jared's all about the Tetris,
Yes.
Tetraminos.
I'm excited, yeah.
Oh,
ever. Yeah, I love the game.
I mean,
yeah,
Dave's got a
that's-
heart on right now. It's
I've
like,
been
ooh,
super
settle
hyped
down,
about
yeah.
that game for a long time. I mean, it when it's not on sale, it's $40, so it's worth every cent. I bought it brand new on launch. So good.
Nick, what is your number one game mechanic that you think is super cool?
Well, actually, I feel like
The pause
Probably
button?
didn't
That's great.
listen
Okay.
correct.
No.
No, maybe I ranked this incorrectly because maybe my number 2 should have been number 1. But
What is your number one?
I'm just gonna go with. I mean, I used it as an example on Discord. Super Mario Brothers 2,
Okay.
the US version. I'm gonna pick a specific part of it though, where you can actually stand on the enemies and not take
Yes.
harm.
Yes.
Oh
I'm all
God.
about that.
And not to mention, you can and you actually can use that to your advantage to actually complete a level.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any games that actually. I mean, there's probably some games where you can accidentally land on an enemy, but I mean, it's only temporary. Like even just like I'll go to my favorite game, Fallout, where I could probably land on an enemy's head and not take harm, but that's very temporary before he's going to move around and I fall down and we're just going to end up in some sort of epic gunfight.
Actually,
But, I
standing
mean-
on their head is probably not going to happen. It's going to
Yeah.
clip through, or you'll fall off right away, or some.
Right, okay,
You'll
but
fall out real
Bethesda-
quick.
Would okay,
Bethesda,
so
Fallout
in
and
this like hypothetical, if you were just like if there was a button where you like grabbed them and held on to them, would that be good enough? Like you were holding on to them and then punching them?
Oh yes, I guess that would be great if I could just like pick them up and hold them over my head and they'd be upside down.
No.
and I
You
could
couldn't
throw 'em at
hold.
other-
You couldn't do that. Like I'm talking about like
okay.
bosses where you're just hanging off of them.
That could be fun.
Wait,
I mean, there's games where you can hang on to the boss and beat the shit out of them, but
That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, eventually you're going to
Yeah.
get thrown off.
like-
yeah, it's
Okay. So so like the mechanic of just hanging on, sitting on a boss
well, it's more the
or an enemy.
it's more the mechanic of not being being able to stand on them and not be harmed as opposed to
right. having to fight
where
them.
you. Well, no, it's just like
Right.
in real.
You would
yeah.
jump on them and be like, "Oh, I'm okay right now."
Okay, yeah, I'm great. I'm okay. And not to mention, there's a lot of.
I don't
different-
think there's ever been a game to use that since. I mean I know there's
Yeah.
games where you jump on enemies and you hold,
Yeah, that's a pretty common.
but like
Yeah.
just like
But this one, you could literally just like hang out and like it'll drive or
Yeah.
coast through the level,
right.
and
Yeah, I mean,
you're
jump on
done.
a bird and
Yeah,
I
keep
mean,
going.
you could hurt them if you want to. I mean, you can. Like,
you know
if
what's
you're carrying
crazy
a
too? There's so
vegetable
many
and-
games. There's so many games like Mario Brothers 2. There's so many indie games that could still use that mechanic, even if you're not talking about like a edgy AAA game 3D mechanic. There's so many like 2D indie games that could
Yeah, that
use
kind of game is pretty popular.
popular right now. Like, why is that not a mechanic that we use right now? Or could use, or why couldn't there be a game all around, just around that mechanic? 100%, Nick. 100%. Good choice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well done.
All right, Dave. What's your number one?
I don't want to steal your thunder, Ian, but I have a feeling I might be stealing
You're
your
not
thunder.
stealing my thunder because you're 100% not going to get what I'm what my number one is.
I was going to say Death Stranding
No, not mine.
with the social like
great.
network
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like
totally.
you're wandering around
Yeah.
and someone's built a bridge for
Mhm.
you, and it was like,
Mhm.
oh man, there's a bridge here, and you leave a like, and then you build something, and that like you go back the next day, and there's like 5 likes because you built this
But
road.
even
and-
not leaving a like, you can mash on the button as long as you can in a small window and give them as many likes as you can click.
Yeah,
And it's funny.
It's not even that. It's like I'm suffering through a level, and then some dude just happened
just
to
made
build.
it a little easier.
He just
yeah.
left a little ladder across the
Yeah.
stream, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or they built a bridge across
Bless-
this
bless,
canyon that you're
bless
gonna be
your
driving
fucking
back and
heart,
forth.
dude. Bless your
Or,
heart.
Oh yeah.
or some
that was
nice
great.
guy left a rope so you can climb up the rock
Yeah.
wall.
It's just like
Uh,
it didn't have
that's
to be.
awesome.
It's just like
Or
yeah.
Ian always
Yeah.
left zip lines everywhere, so
I
I used
can't-
the zip lines.
I can't say I've played a game that was like so like the social part was not real time, but it was so rewarding. If you know what I mean.
100%.
It was
but I
like
was always kind of curious about that. It's like how did the game decide like
yeah.
who's like
Yeah.
It's a server, so
Who
whoever
does-
server you're on, and whoever
Okay.
leaves that stuff, that's just
okay.
so like your game, my game might not have what your game has. It's just like whatever server you're on, and then there's like some kind of time decay.
Yeah.
So like. So
Yeah,
that,
the first
that
time you
stuff
get out
only
to
lasts a
places
certain
and-
time. It's 100% random.
But
So
it's so
it's like-
cool.
it
It's
could
like
it could be there when I play 1 week, but let's say I take
it
a
won't-
break
it
and
might
don't
not
come
be.
back like 2
It
weeks.
might not be
Or,
there.
or
It's-
some
and-
areas will have a ton of really cool like 4-wheelers and
and it
trucks
takes
and
what
stuff
could
like
be
that.
a really
That's-
lonely kind of single player experience and kind of makes this world just feel bigger, like there
But
are
it also
people
makes it
wandering
feel.
around.
It also
yeah.
makes it feel more lonely. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you were
Did you
here
never
once,
see him?
friend.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
could actually like call out, and if somebody was near and responded, you'd get like something, right?
Sometimes I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but yeah.
It's very rare. Like somebody would respond, or if
But
somebody was
I just-
near.
I just thought that was a fantastic game mechanic. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm
obviously,
sure.
like
I'm
that
sure
game
we'll
wasn't
see
that old,
whatever
so we might see
Kojima's
something.
next game is. I'm pretty sure we'll see a further iteration of that mechanic because, like, he's always
that
been
was
good.
so
He's
good.
always been good at iterating on things, and he's all about connection right now. I think that is like the ultimate connection. It's like, hey, I don't
Yep.
know you, but we connected, and I think, yeah, no, that's a great mechanic. And,
Anyway, I yeah, that was on my list. I've got 2 bonus ones for later
oh,
because
you know-
I made 5 just in case you guys chose Death
Gotcha.
Stranding or
Well, I just want
Um,
to say this. I think Kojima is an inspired choice. Great choice, Dave. You know what? I didn't even think about it. I honestly didn't even think about it, but it's an inspired choice. I think what's cool about that is like
it almost
the
feels
future-
like
well, the future of video game.
alternate universe.
Yeah, right. But the
Yeah.
future of video game could
Yeah.
be that. He's
Yeah, a
seen something.
multiverse.
He's seen something out there that could be a future in video gaming, and we were like, "Oh, is this even a possibility?"
yeah, and it's not even like real time connection. It's like, and there's something about that Death Stranding world that really works as well with that because
But as long as
nature of
he
the
is
world.
alive, as long as he is alive and making video games, he's going to iterate on that.
yep, I
Like-
hope he does because that was
Because
awesome.
like that's who he is. He's like always. He's like Metal Gear Solid happened, and he iterated. And I think like Death Stranding is something that like hit.
Yep.
I mean, my Twitter handle is full of these. I don't know how, but it's full of these Death Stranding people, and I have so much Death Stranding, which is weird. I have so much Death Stranding content on my Twitter feed. It is bizarre. And no, I that's such a great choice, Dave. Such a great number. That's better than my number one, really. But my number
What
one.
is your number one?
I thought that might be your number one. That's why I had 2 extras just in case.
My number one's stupid, but I really like it. So here's Dave mentioned last
yeah.
week about Stuntman, and then we were talking about Driver, and then it made me think that's what's kind of what spawned on this top 3. But so this is Driver San Francisco, and it's a regular driving game, racing, doing something. But there's one mode mechanic in it that I think is awesome, and so you race you have two cars you race. So like it's a group of like 6 cars, and you have you and a teammate in 2 different cars, and you try to race, get 1 and 2 position. So during the race, you can switch between them,
I played a demo of that one.
and
That sounds cool.
you can keep switching between the 2 cars, and you can kind of like with the second car, you can ward off the third and fourth car to keep number 1 at number 1, and it's like it's a racing mechanic I've never seen since. And it's just super cool. It was really well implemented. I really enjoyed it. I thought I was gonna hate it. Like when the idea came up in the game, like oh my god, I'm gonna do what? It's like I did not want to deal with it. And then when it was happening, it just worked so fluidly that I was just like really surprised about the mechanic. And it's like I've never got it since. This is a PS3 game.
Honestly, there's one title I thought you were going to select, or at least Dave.
Oh, what? Okay,
I don't remember.
So that's my number. That's my number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honorable mentions.
So honorable mentions. But first, Jarrod, what game did you think we were going to mention?
I don't remember the name of the game, but you guys know it. The one where one of you drives and the other has the light gun and shoots.
Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah,
That's a good one. Yeah,
Starsky
on the
and
PlayStation 2. That is actually a really great game mechanic.
Starsky and Hutch, baby.
I didn't actually think about that, but that's great.
This is a great mechanic. Like literally, one can be driving with a driving wheel, and the other one can have a light gun.
Yeah.
Dude, you're right. This is
good choice, Jarrod.
Good choice, Jarrod. This is like
yeah.
We've
I
only.
thought one of you
Here's
guys
the
would
thing.
select that.
No, because none of. I don't think any of us have ever. I've never beat this game. The only time it's ever been played is in situations where we're together and have done it.
And we had a lot of fun.
But it's super fun, man.
Yeah, that
it's
is a cool
super
mechanic.
fun. It's like,
yeah.
oh, we should try and beat this game though someday.
Anyway, I had one that was not necessarily a great. Well, it's a great mechanic, but I was thinking of the Spider-Man game and the web slinging and going around the city and just how great and easy that felt. But that didn't necessarily feel like a mechanic. It was just like really well done. But the other one I had was Titanfall 2 with the time travel level.
Yeah.
That was fantastic, where you're going through the like destroyed city and then you hit your watch and it goes back and it's developed and you do the next bit and so forth, so on and so forth.
I would say
that was really
it's
cool
really good.
idea.
Dishonored 2 did do a similar level like that.
Oh, did they?
Not as cool as Titanfall's level, but they did do it. That has been done again. But I mean, those games are about the same time period, so like it hasn't been done more recently. And I think Titanfall 2 did it way better. But like Dishonored 2 did do a version of that. Yeah. But
those were my 2 reserve picks, just in case you got because I was kind of half expecting you to get Death Stranding or someone say Death Stranding.
Titanfall 2 level, just where the whole level's moving.
Yes,
is so.
Titanfall 2 is just a solid game, anyway.
Dude, hey,
really good. Play it, Nick.
Nick, if you've never played it on Amazon, you can get it for like $2.99 right now on disc. Anyway. Anyone else have some honorable mentions? I only picked 3. I was pretty good with my 3.
I mean, I hadn't completely fleshed it out, but it was I wanted to. I was playing Pandemic 2 earlier, but I wasn't sure if because there was a game that came out after it that was inspired by it, and a movie. I don't know if you guys are even familiar with Pandemic 2. It's actually a Flash game that came out in 2008. But it's, I mean, the goal is you're basically you either become a virus, bacteria, or a third option that I can't remember off the top of my head. But your goal is to try and infect the entire world and kill off the entire planet. But there's certain, like, you don't get to choose where you start from. It's you name your virus, and then you may start in Australia, you may start in the United States. But one of the things, and it actually created a meme back in 2008, where if you get recognized right away, it's like Madagascar like immediately shuts everything down. So I mean, they're like one of the hardest countries to infect. But I hadn't quite thought it through to really find like one mechanic that was unique to it that
Gotcha.
I couldn't find in the other game that was inspired by it that came out in 2012, which I'm now forgetting the name of it, but it was a bit of a mobile game that that I think had a little bit of popularity to it.
I had thought about
Plague. That's what it was
Plague.
called. I'm not familiar with it, but maybe you or more
I've
other
never
people
played
are
Plague.
familiar with it. I haven't either, but I mean it's kind of a very similar idea where you try to infect the entire planet with a disease. And of course, both these games around 2020, they both kind of found a resurgent for some reason. I don't know why, but just the public decided to start playing both those games.
I had thought,
Reason.
Dave, that the squirt gun mechanic in Peach Please Splash was pretty fundamental.
That's a good mention.
Because
actually,
the water also controls your water jetpack. So, like, anyway. But like
that whole mechanic,
but like
is
the
fun.
whole idea of water, like it's not guns, it's I don't know. Hopefully get a Peach Please Splash too. Anyway. So Jarrod's away.
So the kids will play.
So I asked Aaron what next week's beer is. I texted him. He did not get back to me. So the next week's beer is up in the air right now.
Coors Light.
Well, if you can get that Oktoberfest to Nick, then I think everyone has Oktoberfest.
I don't have it. Jarrod has it.
The Warsteiner. Actually, yeah, if Jarrod can get it to you guys, then.
Oh.
But I don't have it. But
yeah.
But it's Aaron's. Technically, it's Aaron's choice next week. So I was gonna see if he hopefully he picks something. If he doesn't, then. So we don't know what next week's beer is, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize. Hopefully, Aaron will get back to me at some point. But
just grab a cold one. You'll be fine.
It's a mystery. Tune in to find out.
Next week is a mystery beer, and we'll let you know.
Well, you can read the description and wait until you have the beer. So I think you'll be okay.
Couch co-optionals. Jarrod, do you have any optional things you would like to tell us to watch, listen, eat, drink, taste, fuck, read?
Well, I've been watching a show with my daughter recently. I can't remember the full name of it. It's on Netflix. It's like an anime called Kipo. It's really interesting. So,
Kipo on Netflix.
Interesting. Yeah, Kipo.
All right, Nick. Do you have anything super exciting?
Well, it's also on Netflix, but Cobra Kai season 5 is out.
Oh, what a low
haven't
hanging
watched it
fruit.
Yes, low hanging fruit. But God, I love it.
Cool. All right. There you go. 9-pound porter. All right. Dave, what do you have? You have anything cool?
Alien Earth War, Dark Horse Comics.
Comics. Dave's
nice.
What weird backwards world is this that Nick Dave is recommending comics?
This is great.
I've been cleaning out my office and I found this one. It's a really good one. It's from the early 90s. Some of the artwork's really cool, but it's I think it's from 1990 actually, but it's basically a story. They brought a queen to Earth and they're milking the royal jelly to do the
I
others.
love milking the royal jelly.
And then if you also want another classic, again from about 1989, 1990, is The Terminator.
What is with Dave's all
man.
his comic books? Dave
Dark
has?
Horse all the way.
Yep, Dark Horse all the way, man.
Yeah, they had all those licenses.
Like
back
Dave
then.
we
reads
used to read
comics
those
or
in the
something.
in England when I was like a teenager. Well, probably not even a teenager, but I remember reading those when I was really little and just enjoying them. And I think when Ian and I went to a comic book fair like years ago, I bought them and I read them and then I
The
put them
only
on the
comic
shelf.
you've ever bought at a comic shop was that Star Trek.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yes.
Star Trek: The
That's
Next
the only
Generation,
comic
number
book
1.
you've ever purchased in my presence.
I bought these in your presence.
I don't think so. Are you sure? I don't think
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah, because it was the same time we went to the
Yeah,
the
maybe.
Memorial Coliseum. Anyway,
Maybe.
I don't have a big comic book collection, but those are them.
Cool. All right. My number one. What am I? Oh, I know what I'm doing. Hey guys, download the Amazon Prime app and watch the Grand Tour. The
Oh, I haven't watched
Scandi
that yet.
flick. Watch
I
the
really wanna
Scandi
watch it.
flick, dude. It's the best. Like it's top Gear.
It's
at its-
top gear.
it's back at their prime, and holy shit, James May. Just a little spoiler. James May, full send, twice.
Nice.
James May
Yeah, I
is a
read a little bit of
hero.
it, yeah.
James May is a hero on this episode, but it's super cool, super fun. It's classic Top Gear. Just driving cars and doing stupid shit. And the Scandi flick on the Grand Tour, really enjoyed it. So that's my couch co-optional.
Yeah, I can't
for
wait to
this
see
week.
that.
All right. Go to the order. Anyone want to say anything before we get out of here? Like just
Be it responsibly.
Hey, I just first of all, I just want to say we've been doing this podcast for a super long time. Jarrod and I, super long. Dave next in line. Aaron, if he was here, and then Nick's new to it, but Nick is now part of the crew of the Couch Co-op. And
Very happy to say so.
we've been doing this podcast and for a very long time, and we really appreciate everyone who's stuck to it. Like I
Yeah,
said,
thank you for still listening to us.
early on, like we're still getting. This is kind of why I wanted to merge the beer thing, because we were not getting. First of all, we weren't really pushing it, and then no one was really listening to it except Nick. And so having the beer thing here,
And then I become a part of the show.
yeah, right. You're part of the show, and then we were kind of, and it's just like it's nice to in a day get like 100 downloads.
Yep.
It's
Because I'm a
just-
social media black hole. I don't exist
yeah.
on Facebook.
So I feel like this is the show. This is the one that we need to just refocus on this. And I'm glad the guys are into it and worthy to do it. And I know.
It'd be kind of cool to get some feedback if we even need the beer part, if there's anybody that likes the beer part, or if there's
Or if you want
just to
that's
drink
necessary. I mean, yeah. Just,
I'm a big fan of the beer part.
Yeah, we love the beer part. We do.
We do. I think everyone likes the video game part more.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody under the age of 35 listens to this show, anyways.
I just want to keep. I want to keep this podcast, fluid and changing, so like we can change the beer stuff, but I want to make sure we talk about beer, video games, random shit. Anyway, it's been really cool. It's cool. We're refocusing on the brand, and we're gonna try and bring it back at you full force because we love you guys. And it's also, even if we're just drinking beers, more people are gonna listen to it. So yeah. Anyway, let's get out of here. I want to thank you all for listening and remind you to leave feedback on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Couch Co-op Shows, all one word.
No hyphen.
No hyphen.
No hyphen, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Remember to please subscribe and share. Maybe leave us an iTunes review. Man, we haven't gotten an iTunes review in forever. So if you could do that, that'd be great. But hey, instead of an iTunes review, go to anchor.fm/The Couch Co-op Show. Right there on the page, there's a message button. Hit the message button. Leave us a voicemail. That's the voicemail button. You can do it from your phone or a computer. You can record a crazy... Hey, Tony Death. Tony fucking Death. Grab your phone. Grab your fucking phone. Go to the web browser. Go to anchor.fm/Couch Co-op Show. Hit the message button and record us a fucking nasty, just gross, just despicable message that I will play on the
Easy
show.
on me, insensitive.
I will censor it, but I won't censor it actually, unless it's like truly awful. Anyway, yeah.
Fill it with memes.
Yeah, I will. You know what? I don't know what mess. We seriously have to have Tony on the show. We seriously have to finally do that.
Yep.
Can we do an episode an early Sunday, like a Sunday at noon, 1? Could we possibly do that one of these days?
Probably.
Couple of weeks when I'm in Alaska.
Yeah, after you're back from Alaska, Nick.
We can do one when I'm there too.
No, I don't want to deal with that. That's too much.
Okay.
We're gonna want to talk about Alaska and not talk about Tony Death. But I just feel like at some point we really need to have Tony Death on this fucking show. We need to have Tony Death on this show before he dies, guys.
All that vigor.
I don't think he's planning on it, but you never know.
Anyway, leave us a review on iTunes. That would be awesome. I want to thank Jarrod, Nick, and Dave for joining me here on the couch.
Always.
For Couch Co-op, I'm Ian, reminding you to please be excellent to
excellent
each other.
with each other.
Beer excellent. Excellent.
Beer excellent with each other.
Huh?
Mm.
Oh.
Hold my cock.
No.
I'd rather not.
Hold my beer.
Couch Co-op.
Ian, you can be a cock in guacamole too.
Couch Co-op.